Hi there, Mario here, and today I want to show you a bit of the workflow to make and fix corrective shapes in character tools. And first of all, big shout out to Rich, Ari, that really helped a lot into developing this whole workflow. So let's get started, and here you can see we have a arm, and it has already been keyframed in a way that the forearm rotates. And to make my life a bit harder, I just made a rigid binding, so there's no weighting attached, just because I want to show you some of the tools here. So what we're going to do is to assign a morph. In this case it's already assigned, to assign a morph that is driven by the bone rotation. So in this case, if I check my morph influence, this morph influence drives the morph that currently is empty, and this morph is keyframed in a way that is that has full influence when the bone is rotated, and zero influence, zero strength when in the setup pose. So as you can see, this is the setup pose. And so let's start. How can we fix this shape? So the first thing that we could do, to fix this morph influence here, is to just go to the vertex map tab and select the associated morph map, right? But the problem you will quickly realize is that if you try to modify a morph in place like this, when there are deformers in the deformer list, is that the action center doesn't really show up where the morph currently is. It just try to it basically moves where the original mesh would be. So this makes fixing this morph or using any tool really very, very difficult. For this reason, you will find in the scene setup panel a V-tab called Morph Inverter, and this one has actually options to deal with the morph influence as well. So you just need to select a morph influence or a morph container. If you use morph containers, there are new feature, I think in 13, modo 13. Anyway, you just select the morph influence at this point and you click on extract. This will create a duplicate of your mesh, and this mesh will have you will find out a new morph map called deform. So basically it will be an extra duplicate of the base mesh, and with all the deformation applied on a morph. I think I will leave as an option in the future to either choose if to extract the mesh this way, or just the deform state. Personally, I prefer to export it as a morph because this way I can use the Datamesh tool that you will be able to find under the weighting tab. And in this case, because the Datamesh morph tool, it works on morph maps, right? Because it needs to know what the base is and relax according to the original topology. So for this reason now I can go here and with the Datamesh tool quickly fix all this stuff, and the Datamesh tool will try to keep all the relation between the original edges, so everything will be proportional, and you will find out it's a very good smoothing algorithm because it doesn't lose volume. And anyway, so this is a good pass, and Datamesh really helps with that. And once you're done, you can obviously go just on the sculpting tools and fix a bit more, or if you like just regular tools, you can, in this case the action center will be looking okay as it should anyway. And maybe here I will just modify a bit more, maybe add just a bit of bulge, And now once I'm happy with the shape, obviously this is not the best shape, but when I'm happy with it, I can just go back to my Morph Inverter panel, and if I click inject, this will basically transfer back whatever I have selected here in the sculpting mesh. That's how I call it, the sculpting mesh. If I transfer without a morph assigned, then it will transfer this mesh. If I have instead the morph map selected, it will transfer this instead. So it's basically selection based. Whatever you see is what it gets transferred to the original mesh, or better, to the original morph influence. And if you want a bit to know a bit more how all of this is basically tied together, there are some user channels that on the sculpting mesh they remember all sorts of stuff, like the original source morph influence, the original source mesh, and the original morph map. And anyway, going back to us, now I just have to click inject, and now I can see that my morph has been transferred perfectly back. But there is one thing to notice right now, and this is that, do you see, like, the animation is strange, right? And this is very, very normal, like with when using morph influence, like in any application. Like if you're a rigger, you will know that you really want to have all your blend shapes before any skin deformation. So the problem that we have now is that the morph influence is applied after the joints transformations, right? Instead, we want to move this morph influence on the bottom, and right now you can't do it. Like if you just try manually, this is what happens, right? Because you need to change the actual morph map in a way that understand that the joint is rotated to do so. And in other applications, this is known as inverting the morph. That's why this tab is called Morph Inverter, because this is this is the main feature. Is not really extracting and injecting, which is kind of, you could do it manually, but you can't right now in modo invert a shape. And so what you need to do is just you go to your to the shape you want to invert, like you click on the morph influence and then you just click morph down, and you see nothing seems to have changed. Like instead, like I want to show it again, like if I try to move it manually, this is what you get, right? And instead with this one, like you will see nothing happening, but you are actually moving the morph downstream, and you are actually modifying the vertex map even if you don't notice. And now when you animate this guy, there's no artifact anymore. And this is really what characters tool is about, and like really find a way to fix your shapes. For this reason, there are also going to be RBF nodes. I'm not sure if in the first version like they will have a nice and humane UI, because that's a lot of work. But there are RBF nodes too, and you can already use them. They're fully functional, and those will help you if you want to, like, for driving your morphs. And I'll cover this in a separate video. Thank you for watching, and see you soon. Ciao.